discuss the case study. Case study. You can get the topic. So what I will do is they are giving an image generation task. So image generation task is nothing but I will give the image as a prompt to the model. Okay. It will guess whether it needs an image generation or a text generation. That will be done by the model. So those models are called multimodal models. We will not get into that. But what I will do is I will give a prompt and the model will generate the image. So my task is a worker operating a CNC machine. So what I need is image of a worker operating a CNC machine. It may be any task. It may be working in a CNC milling machine or maybe learning cell. But I need a very clear image of a worker operating a CNC machine. So what you guess the image will be? There will be a nice CNC machine that we all know. The worker will be operating on it. The worker, what will be the gender of the worker? Will it be male or female? It will be male. So everyone agree it will be male. So most of the time a worker will be male. Image will be generated as a male. So can you guess why the image is generated like that? It is because of bias. So what is bias?
Bias is basically to consider the thing in a place or on a task based on the existing scenario. For example, in the reproductive from a person is working, we automatically consider them as a most of them are working as a undistributed explanation of an individual based on their
Okay, that's a very good point. Unjust justification. So what is that? We perceive just like that. If I ask you to draw an image, you will actually draw an image because it is in our perception. But it's not the case. There are male workers, there are female workers. There should not be a bias. So if we are even biased like that, then LLM has no chance because LLM is trained based on what? Data which we are generating. Whatever data we are having, LLM sees that data also. So if we are biased, then LLM also will be biased. What are the types of bias? Actually, we discussed about gender bias. So are there any other bias? Okay, there may be communal bias, there may be racial bias, there may be gender bias. So these are the major biases. So communal bias is bias based on a particular community. So if you show a cattle rearing, then you will automatically go to a cattle rearing community. If you work for some, so I don't want to get into that. So racial bias is actually the same thing. So what we humans are perceiving is that we perceive some tasks should be done by some person. So that is not the case actually. So the same thing should not propagate to LLM also. So because why I am stressing this is everything is going agent. So previous video discussed about agent. So if we make the agent to be biased, then what happens is that automatically it will lean towards certain community or certain gender. Then the opposite community or opposite gender will be discriminated. Since if we are human is doing that, we can teach the human to not do that. But it is almost near impossible for teaching a LLM once the training is completed to not do the bias task because it will always refer to its previous memory. If I say Deepika to not do a gender bias, then she will learn it and not do that. But an LLM cannot learn after the training. Am I right? So once the training is done, the LLM cannot learn. You have to retrain the LLM. Although there are certain things like RAG or certain other things, it is not possible entirely to remove the bias. So what are the ways the bias can be mitigated?
Generates output based on what data set is given. It takes the data set from the magazines, newspapers, news, and everything. Most probably, it shows only men in that sector. So it gives output as men. Even though there are female staffs to do that, but it will not generate.
That's a valid point because most of the data is based on the bias. The model also assumes bias. So how can we mitigate this bias?
Actually, first I have to tell about the disadvantages of this. So, for example, there is an interview in some company, and we are using AI for the selection process. When this gender bias comes, if the role is for a technical person, then automatically the job goes for man. So for a women, so this can lead to a most difficult process. So for that we can use any other method so that we can reduce this case.
So that's a valid point. So if you leave everything to the agent, then the task, if it is biased, then it becomes less interpretable. We cannot decide how the model acts. So on that point, I would like to stress about interpretability.
So consider if we are looking into a model of an station, it's never to be a black box. We doesn't really have to know the reason that the model actually is station. So when it really comes to refer how it's come to that relationship. So in the term of image task, it maps the specific pixel to determine the option. Let's say it's find a bird. It could realize that the background will be a blue, which refer to an basically. So in after the mapping, it also helps to safety approach. Consider generating an image in the field of aerospace or any engineering complex. We actually have to know that why it came to that certain frame by not only showing how the taking
That's very good point. So we have to know how the decision is having. As Smita said, if we don't know how the agent is biasing towards a particular gender or a particular race, then we cannot determine how to change the agent. So there interpretability comes into play.